Hey everybody, welcome back to The Authentic Children. And today we are talking about dragons, walking with dragons. Are dragons real? Well, we're talking about them, so in our discussion, yes, they're very real. If you look at the cultures across the world, from continents and civilizations that were supposedly disconnected, every culture has a story of dragons, has some form of a dragon in their mythology. Some are big, some are small, some have wings, some don't. I have seen a wide variety of beings that we would describe as dragons. I've seen the medieval dragons who look fearsome and have big wings and clawed feet and scales all over their body. I've also seen soft snake like dragons that have uh, just a softer skin to them. Many of you have probably seen Mulan. I've seen the little dragons, like the little dragon in Mulan, and things that are towering, that are bigger than buildings. They're very real beings. They're living beside us. Some of them are energies that present and look like dragons, and others are physically there, physically in the space, physically existing beside us in a dimension that we can't see. I have tons of dragon experiences, and it all started with just this awareness as a child that dragons were real. Anytime I watched a movie about dragons back in the 80s and 90s, cartoons, we had Dragon Tales, we had Eureka's Castle, we had Dragonheart, is a great movie about a friendship with a dragon. We had all of these stories about these beings that I connected with deeply. All of my clothing when I was a kid had dragon imagery on it. I drew them, I read about them, and it took me a while to realize they were real. It was in high school. Towards the end of high school, I started realizing like the dragons are really real. They're really there. They're really talking to us. They're really trying to communicate. And as I started studying and meditating, they started to appear to me. I started seeing them. Started seeing one around me that was protecting my space energetically. His name's Harold. He's with me to this day. A big, massive red dragon, 2, 3 stories tall, who sits on my land and sits in the spaces I go to, and helps protect and build the energy of the land so that it is protected. He looks like a medieval style dragon, very fearsome, sharp points on his head, wings, claws, that type of thing, big scales. Very loving and protective red dragon experience. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I started calling them in. I had gone to New York City at one point and bought in Chinatown, I had bought a dragon statue that had a lot of dragon energy with it, and realized I could create an offering space. I created an offering space, and through the offering space was able to attract many dragons. I would visualize them in my mind and feel them and call on them. And I had four from the directions. I had north, south, east, and west. That's what I called them anyway, because when they showed up, they would show up in those directions, or at least according to me, like north would always be in front of me, east to my right, south behind me, and west to my left. So that was their names, but when they came into my space, they were always on those sides of me, and they were tiny, tiny little dragons. You could fit in the probably sit in both of your hands, and they would fly around me, and they would work energy around me. So if I needed protection or help, I would call on them. Each of them had their own offering space in my house to help connect with their energy. And then in places like wintertime, I lived in the north northeast Ohio, where the winters get really bad. And when people were driving their vehicles through the snow and having tons of trouble getting through snowy roads, icy roads, I would call on my what I call directional dragons, those northeast, west, and south. They would come in and they would breathe energy, breathe fire onto the road in front of me to protect me. And I, when I started using them and working with them in that way, I never had issues on the road. I was able to continue driving. I was protected. I would go down the roadways with ease, almost like they were clearing the roadway. And they weren't really clearing the road of snow and ice, but the energy was changing so that I was safe, so that I could go straight through things, passing people that were struggling to go through these deep snow covered roads. Uh, they worked a lot with me, protecting me when I traveled. If I traveled places, they would follow me and they would protect the car, create an energy bubble around the car and protect it. I've been to different places where I've seen dragons. I had an experience where my partner years ago felt called to buy an amethyst crystal for me. We had walked into a crystal shop and my body started vibrating. My body started experiencing so much energy that I began to have a migraine and had to leave the crystal shop. So she stayed inside and I kept feeling, I'm like, there's a dragon in here. It's immense, it's golden, it's powerful, it was overwhelming. So I left and stood outside and she ended up buying me an amethyst crystal that she was called to buy for me and gave it to me. And we went home and we were 10 minutes from home. Got home, she went to take a nap. I went into my office with the amethyst crystal, laid down and meditated. And I felt a big, massive golden dragon fly over from that shop over to our apartment and land in the space of the apartment. I saw a golden foot with giant claws come down right beside me. The foot was as long as my body. I'm 6'2". It was as long as my body, maybe longer. This dragon was easily 3 stories tall, massive golden dragon, very ancient, very powerful, very intimidating. And it said that I thought maybe the people of the store knew they were working with other energies, and it was like they have no idea. They're not awake. They're humans that are just working the store, but that's not their shop. It's my shop. It was very clear that the shop was its shop. It created the energy space. It created the ability for humans to sell crystals and that type of thing, and then works through that space to send healing through the crystals, to work with humans, to connect with them. And my amethyst that it sent me was meant to guide me to other dragons, to its friends. And so I took it to Utah with me. I took it to Utah, not realizing that it was actually guiding me. And I found myself in a space that I intuitively felt called to go. And there were enormous dragons the size of buildings all over the place. I call it my village of dragons, where they were stepping out of the mountains, stepping out of the cliffs, physically there, moving things around, protecting the space, bringing in animals, doing all kinds of things. And was a great variety. There was a blue dragon that was, I can't even describe how massive he was. He was kind of the king of the area. There is a purple dragon that I camped beside who was probably 2 stories tall, an orange salamander like one that was across the way, had more of a salamander feel to him, lizard feel, and huge, crawling on the rocks, yellow ones, green ones, purple, all these types of things. Many different colors, variations, all living together in that space like a dragon village. And I've been out there a few times to talk to them, to work with them, and have those physical experiences where they are doing things that prove they're really there. We just can't see them like we used to. They used to be physical. They used to be here wandering around, and then they had to shift into another world, another space of existence, because those that were physical were just like the story said, they were hunted by humans, they were conquered. The stories of knights going after dragons to conquer the dragon and rescue the princess, that was all created because of things that we used to do where we went after dragons and tried to remove them from this world. So those that stayed had to shift into other worlds, other vibrations of existence. They're still here, and we can still see them if we're willing to, if we are willing to open that connection, to meditate, to believe in them again, to experience them in a way that maybe isn't physical, maybe is just energetic for the most part. And then as they come, they present with signs. Mine love to send lizards. The ones I have many on the land here, many dragons on the land. I have Harold came with me, my big red dragon. Champion is a small one. You can see in the light codes that I've created below. Champion is a smaller one. He's very small. He's like he could fit in between my hands. He's here. And then there are the dragons of the land that were here already who we met and who come and go and kind of roam the place. And anytime that I feel one or see one in my mind or my third eye sit beside me, if I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're really there, a lizard will run right out. A physical lizard will run right up to me, kind of look at me, and then run the other across to the other direction. They'll send lizards all the time, and snakes and other things that are related to them to show like, hey, yeah, we're really here, because they're telepathically connected to the animal world just like we are, and it's a way to help communicate that yes, we are here, we're right beside you. I have conversations with them every day, especially Harold, because he's here. Sometimes the wild ones, I'll get to the offering space or the dragon sculpture in the next video. But they're very real that we've been convinced they aren't real. Every culture has stories of dragons, and stories of dragons during times when dinosaurs weren't supposed to be real, when they weren't supposed to know about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are supposedly millions of years old. I don't agree with that myself, which we'll get into in a different video at some point. But I feel a lot of dinosaurs are still alive today based on my experiences. And dinosaurs aren't dragons. Some people come to the conclusion that dinosaurs and dragons are one and the same. It's not the case. Dragons exist and dinosaurs exist. They are just different forms, and because of the stories and the disbelief and things that happen, people try to push them together into one space. There are dinosaurs. There are, uh, velociraptors and Tyrannosaurus rexes and um, long-necked dinosaurs and pterodactyls and all those. I've seen a lot of those and talked to them. There are some that are out here on the land in a different frequency, some long-necked dinosaurs. So a lot of those things still exist if we're open to experiencing them. This is about, you know, questioning whether or not those stories have validity in your reality. Every culture again has stories of dragons, has stories of dinosaur-like beings, has stories of giant ancient lizard-like beings. Why would every culture have those stories if they weren't real? And then we start to understand from a frequency standpoint where they exist now. How can we communicate with them now? Through space and time. Are they right beside us? Are they in another time? Are they in another dimension? And when we open that magic, when we open that doorway, we start to realize dragons are very real, right beside us, connecting with people, trying to help people connect, and trying to help build a new world. They're not as vicious and evil as many of the stories make them out to be, like the stories of knights chasing dragons and trying to conquer them to rescue the princess. They're not that. They're far more very wise, very beautiful, very intelligent beings. that are here to work with us. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll put in your exercise for this week, for this episode, a video on offerings and introducing yourself to dragons, bringing them, inviting them into your energy space. Much love and gratitude, everyone.